and welcome back to the How I Ripped Off Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. My name is Chip Thompson, and I'm joined as always by MC.
That would be me.
How are you?
I'm well. Why is it sometimes Mr. MC, sometimes MC?
I just like to mix it up. Sometimes it's Little Miss.
Is it?
It
I
is
mean,
now.
that sounds feasible, yeah.
And this is Little Miss MC.
That would be me.
And welcome back to Chip, Season 1, Episode 3. This episode is called Home Team, Part 1. Mm-hmm. What happened last time, MC?
Well,
Sorry, Little Miss MC.
Chip was good at sex. Because when you wake up in the morning and you're covered in bruises and you don't know if that's from the hot sex or 3 demons beating the shit out of you in an alleyway, that's when you know a ninja did a sex in you.
Still need to put that on my Tinder bio, actually. Is that all we're going to offer?
I mean, that was the important thing. Also, first episode of Chip, of course.
The pilot.
Yeah, I think it's going to get taken up there. Got a lot of interest from the execs. So Chip, of course, is in New York, brooding, as always, in a place without any central heating. We were introduced to 2 characters, Kat and Dudley, or Ridley, or Dudley, Diddly, what's
Ridley.
Ridley, yeah.
Yeah.
I keep getting confused with Doyle from Angel.
I don't know why.
Ridley, who is a streetwise person.
Yes, he is. And Kat, who has a mysterious past.
Yes.
But knows Chip is good at sex.
Yes.
Yes.
And also she's good at martial arts and stuff.
Yeah, she held her own against a big old demon, didn't
Yeah.
she? Yeah, they could turn into a skip.
Yep.
Yep.
So, that established.
Yep, we've set up some stuff with Chip. Mm-hmm. Now let's get into it. Let's find out. This is Home Team, Part 1.
Previously on Chip.
Me? I'm the thing you guys have nightmares about. Chip pushed his hood away from his face and examined the demons. Without giving them a moment to think, Chip leapt forwards. The fight was on. Who are you? Let's start with a name.
Ridley.
He smiled. Wait! Chip yelled, grabbing hold of Kat's arm. Let go! Kat struggled. Chip spun her around so she was facing him. The two looked at each other for a couple of seconds before leaning in to kiss one another. Kat had come back with Chip last night, and they had spent the night together. Only now, in the morning, Chip was alone. Kat had left. Look, Kat, it seems like you've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment, so maybe you don't need a friend or a relationship right now. But there are some things in this world that we all need. A place under the sun and $1 million? Kat laughed. Companionship. Kat stopped laughing and looked down at her feet, nodding. She didn't say anything. If you decide, I'll be around. Chip said.
Oh, I'm sorry. You like to play the lone tortured hero. Well, listen up, bud. You stay in here by yourself, battling the convenient evil, you'll end up a lot worse. That I can guarantee. All I'm offering is my services. I hear things down the grapevine that might jeopardize humanity. I'll drop you a line. Deal?
Ridley extended his hand as he stood up. I'll think about it, Chip replied. As the train shuffled along its tracks, Chip couldn't help but think that the few people who were on it with him were a lot like a train in many ways. Oh god, we're going to get some beautiful Chip philosophy here, aren't we? It's going to be hateful.
Much he hates people, yeah.
They couldn't go anywhere except for where the tracks pulled them. That's from Final Fantasy VII.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Cloud says that.
Oh, God.
It really seems to me that with Chip, the show, that I really had completely run out of ideas. So it seems like everything is ripped off now. I feel like when we were doing Tomorrowgation before, there were, obviously a lot of things I'd ripped off from Buffy and other things, but this just seems all out the wall, like, yep, don't know what I'm doing, so here we go. I'm writing this out of obligation.
Maybe... You just got offered too much money to refuse. Do you think that you've yet to find a voice for Chip?
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe it's because it's Chip's solo adventures and I was really egotistical that I'm just like, I want all the cool things that I like. Angel Final Fantasy
Cloud.
7. Yeah. God, that's sad, isn't it? I feel like I should be showing this to a counsellor more than anything else. They couldn't go anywhere except for where the tracks pulled them. He included himself in that. They were bums, whores, and people who would take advantage of the sweetest old lady.
Because they're all the same, the homeless,
Sex
workers. They're the same with people who just con old ladies. They're all the same, aren't they? They're all just worthless train people.
What was my issue?
You did like the homeless.
Clearly I had many issues. He wasn't sure if he was the same as that. Only time would tell.
A homeless prostitute who takes advantage of old ladies.
That's where the season's going to go. That's the arc. Chip fighting against his worst nightmare. But no, we're still banging on about whether or not he's evil.
Yeah.
We're still not sure. There's still a possibility someone will flick that switch. The remaining few stepped off the train as it pulled into one stop. Chip hadn't ridden the subway very often since coming to New York, as it reminded him of the tube back in London. Crowded, nosy, and full of people. Those subway
People
trains.
reading his diary.
They're always poking their noses in his business when he's on the subway.
Excuse me, are you evil? I just noticed a switch on the back of you.
Taking it home late at night proved a different story, as he could sit and have time to think. That's all he does. He just sits there and brood. He doesn't need more time for that. That's really bad for him. He starts thinking about how much he hates the homeless and the poor then. His stop was the next one. The train came to a slow halt and Chip stepped out. He looked for the exit sign and headed towards a flight of stairs. He felt something grab his arm. Instinctively, Chip spun around and landed a kick in the midsection of his attacker. I really hope it's a sweet old lady.
And Chip's like, she had it coming.
He followed it up with a jumping kick, sending the assailant back into the wall of the subway. The white tiles crumbled to the floor as the body smashed into it and dropped to the concrete as well. Chip rolled the body over and peeled off the balaclava it was wearing. Expecting to see a demon, Chip was shocked to see that the dead body belonged to a young male who couldn't have reached his 20s yet. His eyes were shut and blood dripped from his mouth. Chip dropped the guy's head and ran for the exit, trying to block a flurry of memories.
Whoops.
Episode 2, Chip has murdered someone. He's murdered some teenager. Well, start as you mean to go on, I guess.
It's fine, they were homeless.
I mean, the guy was wearing a balaclava, but that doesn't necessarily mean he was going to mug him, I guess.
Yeah. Also, I mean, obviously, murdering him is a bit of an overreaction.
Manslaughter, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what he'd be charged with.
Self-defense.
Oh dear, this isn't going to go well, is it? But Chip is the dark one. I bet MC didn't accidentally kill man.
He's Shadow from Sonic High School.
I've killed loads of people, but I wouldn't kill my parents.
Wait, that sounds like Sonic, actually.
Yeah, there's a very slight difference
subtle
between Sonic and
difference.
Shadow and Chip. A small bit of side, some backspin, and plenty of delicacy was required. Ridley hit it perfectly, and the black ball rolled expertly into the middle pocket. Oh, he's hustling.
Ooh. That's game, boys. There's I don't know what that... There's another gangster accent.
You kind of went like
Yeah,
1920s.
see?
Yeah.
There's game, boys. No, I did it again.
That's fine. Let's just go with that.
Yeah.
Do it one more time for me.
There's game, boys.
He said as he scooped up the pile of money lying on the side of the pool table. You tricked us! His opponent growled. Apparently they're in a 1920s pool hall.
Let's go with it. Yeah, no one gets that good in one night.
His partner agreed.
I can't remember if that was actually Ridley's voice now. Fucking hell.
You doubting our voice acting ability, MC?
No, I've said in Sonic High School that it is exceptional
Yes.
and amazing. And
No one
other good
believed you,
words.
though.
I believe me, and that's what counts. What can I say? Beginner's luck.
Ridley counted and checked the bills. He had entered his local tavern when he'd spotted the two guys that weren't regulars playing pool. They looked a little younger than he did, therefore more gullible. Oh, I hate the young as well, apparently. From what he saw as he watched from behind a double Jack Daniels, he could kick the arses at pool. He could kick the arses at pool. But it's ASS' at pool.
So the
Uh,
the apple belongs to the arse? Is there like a donkey there?
maybe. I mean, I reckon I could beat a donkey at pool. And I'm not
Don't
very
get
good at it.
cocky.
Ridley staggered over in his best drunken act and challenged the two. They duly accepted, and 7 balled Ridley easily.
Wait.
The inhabitants of the bar, all demons, knew Ridley well and never interfered in his business. The old demon code.
So did these guys just go into a demon bar and they were like, huh, Halloween, is it? Okay.
Maybe they are demons that pose as humans?
Maybe.
just to keep the allure up.
Sure.
Yeah. And these two guys just walked on in like, yeah, we'll play you at pool, mate, don't worry. Next, money hit the table. Only a small lot at first, until after a couple more drinks, which Ridley had been spitting into an ashtray, the stakes were raised to $50 a ball.
Must be a big ashtray. Do you not notice when he sort of... Is he like miming smoking and then exhaling, then sort of dribbles his Jack Daniels out into an ashtray?
Well, if he's only drinking Jack, like he could just spit that out, right?
Sure.
I'm not going to defend this. That's when, shockingly, Ridley was able to get his act together and beat the fella's hard-earned cash. Wait, he beat the money at pool. So first he beat a donkey, and then he played pool against a dollar bill.
It's like, I'm unstoppable. I can beat animals, inanimate objects.
Hey, you ever hear the joke about the donkey and the dollar bill that went into a demon bar?
Hey, this isn't a 20, it's a 10.
Ridley called out as his opponents tried to leave the bar. The two men looked at each other for a second before walking back towards Ridley. He was still at the back of the bar beside the pool table. As the stepped forwards, the two men changed from their everyday human faces to their demon persona of being creatures of the undead. Just say they're vampires, mate. It's a lot easier. Demon persona of being creatures of the undead. What a wanker.
Vampires,
Ridley said as he tried to back up and tuck his money away at the same time. That's right, the first vamp said as he pinned Ridley up against the wall. Vampires! Two pissed off vampires!
We don't have time for this.
The other said. The first vamp dropped Ridley. Your lucky day! I don't eat your kind! He snatched the money from Ridley's paw and changed back to his human face.
So, this is interesting.
Is it?
Snatch the money from Ridley's paw. I mean...
He's a teddy bear.
And also, I don't eat your kind. So yes, he's a teddy bear. Your writing is so bad, you neglected to mention that he's a gigantic animate teddy bear who hustles vampires at pool and likes to humiliate money and donkeys in pool games.
Wow, the lore of Chip is growing.
You said it wasn't original.
Today is the day the Ridley Bears have their picnic. The two vampires left the bar, leaving Ridley empty-handed after a night of hard work. He scanned the bar to see if there were any more unwilling wage slips anywhere, when he said to himself,
Vampires.
He ran for the exit and flew through the door. I mean, if he's a regular at this place, he can't obviously scam the regulars.
Yeah.
You know, they all know him. He said they let him be, they let him crack on with it. But then it's not like he has any friends because no one kind of stepped in to help him either.
Yeah.
So I figure Ridley's the kind of guy that knows a lot of people but doesn't have a lot of friends.
I feel like he's tolerated in the bar.
Yes. Yeah, he's probably scammed some of them before and then had got beaten up and then they just let him go.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't want to beat up a teddy bear. They felt bad about it. Even demons have limits.
That's canon now, isn't it? The pounding on the door wasn't from the Avon lady, Chip guessed, even though he was expecting her in about an hour.
Ooh, Tupperware. Do we even have Avon over here?
Yeah, we have Avon over here. I think every mum in the 90s tried to be an Avon seller.
Okay.
Still, he had no interest in seeing anybody tonight and had no intention of opening the front door of his apartment. But it swung open anyway, and Ridley ran in.
Does he lock the door?
Well, I don't know, Ridley's really good at getting into that apartment, isn't
that's
he?
true, that's true.
He just, I mean...
It's hard with his little bare hands as well. He has to hold, the lockpick between them.
Oh, no, we've ruined Ridley already. Or improved him, I'm not sure. We've also forgetting that Chip just killed a guy as well. Our main focus has been Ridley is now a teddy bear.
Well, he's so eager to get back in time for the Avon lady. Oh, man, am I glad to see you.
He gasped. Chip didn't even get up from the sofa, just sipped his beer some more.
There's a whole world of trouble going out there, and
Ridley paused for a second and stared at Chip. What? The ninja asked.
You have hair.
Yeah, your point being?
I haven't seen you without your hat on before tonight. A little too much product for my liking, but I'm getting sidetracked. We have some serious problems, and by we, I mean New York.
What is the point of mentioning his hair?
It's glorious.
Did we mention Chip wearing a hat in the last episode? I think we touched upon it, maybe.
Wasn't it a claret hat?
Oh, yes, it was. Well done. So Ridley's like, I've only seen you with your claret hat. Didn't know you had hair underneath it. Ridley stood in front of Chip now, walking up and down the apartment's small living room area.
You don't seem to be in that up-and-go hero mode.
I'm having a hard time caring at the moment.
Look, whatever crap is in your past, tonight is not the night to wallow in it. Come on, man, this is bad. Real bad.
Chip got up off the sofa and stood in front of Ridley. They would have been nose to nose if it weren't for the fact that Chip was 3 or 4 inches taller.
Teddy bears are short. Chip is tall and good at sex. And has hair.
And he doesn't like it when teddy bears break into his apartment because they're not the Avon lady. I killed a guy. Chip said as he walked away.
I'm well aware of your past.
Not the past. Tonight. Just a few hours ago.
You're kidding, right?
Ridley laughed nervously.
I thought you were over the whole murdering people thing.
I was. I mean, Chip quickly rephrased. I am. It was an accident. I stepped off the subway and I got jumped from behind. I fought the guy off and I used too much force. When I finally realised it was just a mugger, it was too late. He was gone. Again, I feel like Chip is emphasising certain things like, yeah, I got attacked. He didn't just put his hand on my arm or anything like that.
Look, Chip, that's got to be hard to deal with, but I got 3 words for you. Get over it.
More emotional well-being training
There
from
we
characters.
go.
Chip stared at the New York natives as if he had just said something bad about Bruce Campbell. That's how bad it was.
As I've said a million times since I've been in this dive, something is going down and not in the Paris Hilton sense.
Oh, that ages it, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah, there we go. I'd forgotten all about Paris Hilton.
She's always been on my radar. What's Paris up to?
She's probably doing so well nowadays, she'd take a part in this. You don't understand. How could you?
That's right, I don't. I don't remember killing anyone with my hands, and you know why? I've never had that kind of power. The power you got. Sure, you violently tried to end the very existence of this planet, but now you're trying to do the right thing with this power. So you've had a setback. Don't let it throw you off your tracks, man.
A setback. It killed someone.
A minor hiccup.
Well, literally a minor as well. Chip sighed and downed the rest of his beer. What is it? He asked, listening to Ridley now.
I was in a bar earlier, just minding my own business, when these 2 vamps show up.
Ridley paused, like he had finished. Chip looked back, blankly.
I was in a bar earlier, just minding my own business, when these 2 vamps show up.
Ridley repeated himself. You're worried about 2 vampires?
Well, sweet baby Jesus, I think he's got it. Yes, I am damn worried and scared and worried.
Are they some kind of super vamps? Old ones? Apocalyptic ones? Whatever it is, I'm sure I've seen it all before.
Seeing as you're still classified as a tourist in this city, I'll level with you.
Ridley said.
In New York, there are no vampires, for a very good reason. If they're here, then trouble was right behind them.
So New York doesn't have vampires? Ooh, I wonder why.
It's the police discrimination.
Oh, let's not get too political with that. God.
It was a bit too real, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh, fine. Chip replied, I'll check it out. He reached for his coat, which was hanging on the back of his bedroom door.
Fantastic.
Ridley said, but I want you to do something for me.
Go on a picnic.
I want you to bring me a picnic basket.
I want a marmalade sandwich. Ah, wait, man. I've told you before, I ain't battle ready.
That guy, the one I... Find out who he is.
Are you sure about that?
Dead sure.
Okay, man. I do you a favour, and you do my home city a favour.
Chip exited the apartment, and Ridley quickly followed. He hoped the ninja was up to whatever task that lied ahead. So, is the format of these episodes going to be Ridley has the thing, goes to Chip, Chip does the thing,
But grumbles about it first.
yeah, and then accidentally kills some random people at times.
What if he just accidentally kills someone every episode?
And then Ridley's like, oh, there's zombies now, this one.
Also, get over it, pussy.
A shudder slipped down her spine, and she felt the goosebumps crawl over her arms. She slammed the shot glass down on the bar. Another! Cat demanded of the bartender. Hey, Cat's back.
Hey. Or think you've had enough.
The barman suggested. Cat glared back and pulled out the remaining change she had in her back pocket and dropped them on the bar. Them? She dropped them on the bar? His living change?
Has Ridley been hustling them at Paul? This isn't enough.
The barman said after counting the money. It's all I've got. Cat replied. The barman shrugged. A 20 fell beside Cat's coins.
Allow me.
A green and red demon said as he scooted next to Cat. His face was long, like an armadillo, with a bumpy rash under his chin.
No, not the armadillo rash demon.
He was bald, with 2 beady eyes. His casual shell suit hid the rest of his body, but Cat had no urge to see it.
He's wearing a shell suit. Holy shit. Is that a joke? Because in armadillo, so are armadillos armoured?
Armadillo?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you do like it when I describe a new sort of demon that
I
turns
do
up.
very much.
So here we have a long-faced armadillo with a bumpy rash under his chin and a shell suit. No, thanks. She slid the demon's money back towards him. Suddenly, the demon snapped and grabbed Cat's hair.
Why would you go and piss me off like that? I've seen you in here before, flirting with the other disgusting humans that think they're big enough to enter this place.
You're a skulker demon, rat. You eat people's armpits and shoulders.
Oh, Christ. Oh. Remember, there was an Angel episode, there was a demon who ate hands, and I remember thinking it was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it kind of worked with the personality of that particular demon, for what I remember.
Well, and also, we eat like chicken wings and legs.
Yeah, but it still seems kind of dumb that a
mean,
demon would only eat a certain body part.
I mean, nothing is as dumb as armpits and shoulders.
It's very true.
A clever one. Did you study demons at UCA Whore?
Oh, God.
Oh, you don't like prostitutes. Hate them. Hate them almost as much as the homeless.
I think I just hated women at this stage, apparently. Cat elbowed the demon, freeing her hair before spinning off her stool and jump-kicking the demon off his seat and onto the floor. It got back up and was fuming. Like an old lady on a Facebook post. Fuming! It started to scrape its foot along the floor, just like a bull before it charged the matador. Before it had a chance to do anything else, Chip grabbed it from behind and threw it from one side of the bar to the other. It hit its head on a fire extinguisher and was out cold. I don't know if this is a common theme in my writing, but there's a lot of kicking or punching or throwing someone so hard they go sailing across the room and hitting the wall on the other side. It's very much a sort of, look how strong this is. The person's strong, isn't he?
Whoa.
He kicked up other side of the room, strong kick, man. So Chip is strong and good at sex. We've established that, right?
And has hair.
The other inhabitants of the demon bar were used to the violence, most living for it, and did take much notice until Chip had arrived. He heard the faint whispers of the many other demons as they told their friends that this man was the one making waves in the streets.
Yo.
He's got a sick flow as Chip. He just needs some beats and he'll be ready. He ignored them and went over to Cat. She sighed and sat back down on her stool. Haven't seen you in a while, Cat said. I've been busy. Come to put this place out of business? She asked sarcastically. Actually, someone I know here earlier and said a couple of vamps were causing trouble. Vampires? In New York? No way. Way. Chip said dryly.
It really was 90s, wasn't it? Jesus.
Well, no, this was early mid-2000s.
So you were behind the times even then.
Like a pioneer would be. Way. Chip said dryly. You've seen any pointy teeth since you've been in here? Chip asked.
I might know something.
The barman said as he walked over to where Chip and Cat were sitting. Really? Cat said. How about you give me a drink and we'll have a nice friendly chat about it? This is my case. Chip said. Hey, you're the one who gate-crashed my night. Besides, I've never seen a real-life vampire. What do you know? She said, turning towards the barman.
I said I might have information. Maybe I need a memory refresh.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
And just slide that bill across the table now.
Yeah.
Cat grabbed the barman by the scruff of the neck and pulled him across the bar. Cat, let him go, Chip ordered. She did as she was told, but was shocked to see Chip slide 3 20s across the bar. That's quite... Is that a
Where
lot?
where does Chip get money from?
He...
Killing muggers. And conning old ladies.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a B&B.
Yeah.
How is he making money?
Maybe he takes money off the demons he kills.
Yeah, maybe.
There we go. Law established.
The barman brushed himself down and took the money.
Seems before they lost a wad of cash to one of my regulars, they were talking about some place they needed to be, and how the guy they would be meeting wouldn't be there yet.
Sounds like a thrilling conversation. We need to go meet this guy, but he won't be there yet. Let's lose
We
another
need
game
to
of pool.
go somewhere and meet someone. Of course! The warehouse on 3rd.
Where exactly? Chip asked. The barman counted the money he'd been given and gave it back to Chip.
This isn't enough. I like how he gives the money back to Chip.
Yeah. Like,
I know you didn't get what you were after, and I don't want there to be any hard feelings, so I'm offering you a refund.
Chip had his information receipt, so... Maybe we'll just let you keep your face then, Kat suggested menacingly. Chip added 2 more 20s.
Is Chip trying to be nice because he just killed a dude and he feels bad?
I don't know. I guess maybe he's trying to get away from the aggressiveness of beating humans up, so... Yeah, and he's apparently just got money to bribe barman with. Will this do? You're not really going to pay this scumbag, are you? Kat asked.
It'll do.
The barman said. He leaned in and whispered to Chip the location. Chip dropped the money onto the bar and left the bar. That sounds like
Firemaster? Is that you?
Kat caught up with him as he got out onto the pavement. What the hell is that? Did you have an epiphany and suddenly decide violence is wrong? And where did you get all that money from? Kat asking the right questions. Yeah. It was next month's rent. Chip replied, not breaking his stride.
Okay, but where did he get next month's rent?
Where did he get last month's rent? Many questions.
It's very cheap because it doesn't have any central heating.
That would be a very cheap apartment. And there are no locks apparently either. It's really easy for teddy bears to break in. The subway station was full, but not with the usually commuters, sports fans, tourists and muggers like it usually was.
I thought it was normally hobos, whores and old ladies getting scammed.
Now it was packed with police, uniformed and detectives. The forensic team stood from multiple angles taking pictures of the dead body that lay on the platform. As Ridley walked down the steep steps of the platform, he knew all this was down to Chip. He had killed the man. He wasn't too sure what to make of Chip just yet. He was English, coming from Tokyo and trying to settle into New York whilst avoiding his past demons. How does he know all that? That's also another question we don't know.
Yeah.
Where does Chip get his money from? How does Ridley know about Chip? Ridley knew all too well that never worked. Ooh. Just planting those seeds, planting them, there we go.
What could it be? Could it be that he's half demon?
No, he's a teddy bear.
Okay, yeah.
Teddy bear half demon. He stood to the back of the police line, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. The police forensic team finished taking their photographs and zipped up the body in a black body bag. Ridley caught the slightest glimpse of the body's white face, but didn't recognise him. All that remained was a chalk line of where the body had landed after crashing into the wall behind.
Because he's strong, kick strong, wall strong.
Is the white body chalk thing real? Do they actually do that? Or is it just from 1940s detective shows?
Do you think maybe the police keep doing it? They don't need to. But it's like, I've been wanting to be a cop since I was a kid. I've always wanted to do this. Don't take this away from me.
I'm surprised we haven't got a cop that's like, man, whoever did this must have been really strong. Probably good at sex. Can I help you, sir? A young uniformed police office said.
Oh God, it's Tokyo. There must be like a exchange program with Tokyo.
Well, yeah, I mean the Tokyo police force must have closed down after everything that happened as well. So he's gone off to pastures new.
Yeah, tell me, why is the press waiting outside?
Ridley said, like he knew what he was talking about. Excuse me? The cop asked, sound a little more like human now.
I don't want that pictures of that guy's body all over the 10 o'clock news.
Ridley reached into his trouser pocket and fished out his leather wallet. He flashed his library card quickly before placing it back inside his pocket.
Hey kids, reading is cool. Detective Henry, you want to tell me what's going on here, son? Or shall I get on to your captain about how the local NYPD stand around like a bunch of morons on my crime scene?
Again, I feel like this is something that happens in shows
Yeah.
where they pretend to be a cop and somehow get away with it.
Yeah.
Like the uniforms are always fooled
Yeah.
by the fake flash of the badge, you know? Well, the young cop tried to find the right words. Well, sir, this body's just been discovered a little over an hour ago by a homeless guy. He's been badly beaten, his windpipe crushed, and his lungs...
Save me the details, Junior. What do we know about the guy?
He's Sean Arnold, sir. The policeman looked at Ridley as if he should know who he was. The local drug runner.
Don't patronise me. I knew who you meant.
Yeah, anyway, we've been after him for a while. He's got the record the size of a super sub sandwich.
Ah, the famous New York Super Sub Sandwich.
I clearly did my research into New York culture.
So he's just a no-good scumbag. Looks like whoever did this did the world a favour.
Ridley said with a smile. Oh, actually, sir, we believe it was gang-related. An empty bag was discovered with body, and it contained traces of cocaine. An empty bag was discovered with body. Oh, with the body, I guess.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah. And it contained traces of cocaine. All right, okay.
Any CCTV footage?
Yes, 2 cameras either side of the platform. We've just recovered them.
Okay. Burn them, send the stiff to the morgue, and close the case. That's how you do it. No paperwork or anything.
Ridley patted the cop on the bag and left the subway station just on his rucksack. Like, well done, Junior. You did a good job covering up this crime.
Also, did he ask them to burn the cameras? Just imagine the very confused copper with a lighter underneath the cameras going, sir, I don't think this is working.
And he's just like, how is he going to explain it to the other detectives as well? It's like, oh yeah, that other guy just told me to burn the cameras, so I did. The police officer stood for a second, looking slightly confused when someone tapped him on the shoulder. Okay, Junior, what we got here? Detective Jack Bentley showed the cop his badge.
His library card.
And that's where we're going to leave Home Team, Part 1. Well... I'm glad Chip follows the same routine of having part 1 be all set up, and then the good stuff will happen in part 2, hopefully.
You managed to rip off yourself.
But what do we think of this episode, MC?
Well, it's good that Chip gets an opportunity to brood again. I miss that so much.
He always handles the accidental murderings of people really well.
I guess that it's going to be a thing of, like... Oh, good, he was a really unpleasant person. That means I don't need to process my emotions or grieve or feel bad or deal with anything.
Do you wonder if it'll be slightly more complicated? That he'll probably feel slightly relieved to know it was a horrible drug pusher. But at the same time, like, you know, they have that code of like, oh, we don't kill humans and stuff. So
and also he did it accidentally. I guess it's the thing, it's more like the thing where to make sure the audience doesn't lose their sympathy for the character.
Yeah. And he... it's going to, I reckon, deal with issues around his kind of control over his power as well.
Yeah.
Because he knows what it's like to lose control. So there might be some elements of that thrown in as well. But I feel like we've got a named detective here, and Detective Jack Bentley. And I think we only name characters that are recurring. So I think this might be a new character.
Ooh.
And I just wonder if he's going to be slightly annoyed about the cameras being burnt. But also, he's turned up 3 seconds after Ridley left, so surely the cameras are fine and they can recover the footage. But it was probably like a mini DV camera from back in the day. They burn really easily, really flammable. That's why we moved to digital. A load of filmmakers died. And we also have the other side of this where Chip and Kat are kind of reacquainted.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to bone.
Yeah. Chip is really good at sex.
And they're investigating this sort of, vampires are in New York, this is weird kind of thing.
That is, to be fair, quite an interesting point, where vampires seem to be sort of omnipresent everywhere else in the world. But in New York, for some reason, there aren't any.
Yeah. I wonder if it's either going to be the case of that they don't, for whatever reason, they don't go to New York, but they're really revered as dangerous, and so if the two have shown up, they must be something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be the case of like, there's worse things in New York, like even vampires don't come here, sort of thing.
I wondered if maybe the other demons sort of had like a policy of kicking out vampires when they see them.
Oh, so they're racist against vampires. They're vampirists. Of course, there's a third option, which will be I'll just never explain it.
That is also
They're
an option.
just not in New York.
Yeah.
Why? Shut up. Well, if you've got any theories as to why there's no vampires in New York,
It's all the hot dogs that the New Yorkers eat. It makes the blood taste bad.
you ruined my segue.
You can contact us.
There's numerous ways in which you can get in touch. You can find us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/HowIRippedOffPodcast.
And we are also on Twitter at How I Ripped Off.
And if you want to go back and listen to everything from the start, or share this with a friend who you think might like it, you can tell them to go to our SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, or YouTube page, and they can just find all of our episodes for free of charge there.
How generous of us.
I know, we're givers.
And if you want to reward us for our generosity, pay it back. You can leave us a rating and a review, as it helps us a lot and makes us feel better about ourselves.
And we
Slightly.
really need some self-esteem right now, because we're just like a couple of vampires in New York worried about all the hot dogs.
We don't have a demon teddy bear to make us feel better. I'm going to end there.
Okay.
I was hoping that would lead into something better, and it really didn't.
Well, let's end. Yeah.